No, Dave, I did not intentionally leave you in the garage while I went riding in South Africa. It wasn't intentional, I just forgot you here. But you seem to have managed okay. I mean, you look a little pale. Welcome back to Long Way Home, everyone. The place where getting your motorcycle news is easier than getting a flight to South Africa, but not by much. Last year in November at EICMA, Yamaha showed off their new Tenere prototype, the T7 Raid. This thing had much better suspension, better braking. How shall I put this? If you were a Tenere fan but wanted even more off-road prowess from the bike, the Raid was your wet dream. So what did Yamaha do next? Well, they released a brand new T7 World Raid model to the public, which is basically a watered-down version of the prototype, but still quite a massive improvement over the standard T7. Let's go through all the changes, form some opinions, on paper at least, so if this is something that interests you, stick around. Alright, let's talk about the elephant in the room here, suspension. Statistically, one of the most upgraded components by Tenere 700 riders. Personally, I had no complaints with the current suspension in my testing of the standard T7. It's got loads of adjustability, and with my riding style, I'm definitely not taking it to its limit. However, a lot of owners preferred more beefy suspension, so what did Yamaha change? The World Raid now comes with 43mm KYB forks, which now have 230mm of travel instead of 210 on the base model. They are now also fully adjustable, which means preload as well, and Yamaha has coated them with a Kasimha coating, which is a special, much more durable coating process than standard hard anodizing, meaning that your forks will look new for a lot longer. The rear shock has also gotten an upgrade as well. Wheel travel is now up 20mm to 220. It also has a new aluminium body for better heat dissipation and is fully adjustable. All of this means that overall ground clearance has changed. It's now 250mm, up from 240. And in case that is not enough and you still bottom out, the rear shock now has a rubber bumper, so you won't feel it as much. Yamaha seems to have listened to client feedback here, and they really did beef up the suspension on the new T7. Fuel tank, or shall we say fuel tanks, because there are now two of them. The World Raid really wants to channel its inner Dakarness. Yamaha wanted to upgrade the T7 and make it a proper long-distance tourer, and instead of taking its current 16-liter tank and just making it larger, which would increase the bike's center of gravity, they designed two separate side-by-side tanks for a total of 23 liters, which according to them will now give you a range of about 500 kilometers, more than enough in anybody's books. This design, weird as it is, seeing two separate filler caps, helped the bike manage to keep its center of gravity pretty much the same as with the standard T7, while fitting a lot more fuel in. I also highly appreciate the fact that the filler caps are now part of the tank and not separate pieces, which I never have any idea where to put them when filling up. Electronics. Yamaha has finally started to embrace electronics on the T7, although just a little bit. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. The new additions come in the form of a 3-stage ABS, meaning it's either completely on for both wheels, completely off, or just the front wheel. Yamaha has also embraced colors. Say goodbye to the old 1990s LCD panel and hello to the new 5-inch color TFT. It also comes with 3 different screen layouts, a street one which shows the standard bike info in an easy to read configuration and also has an RPM readout, an Explorer layout which has a more modern look, and a Raid screen which shows 2 different trip meters for when you're inevitably gonna rally raid and navigate using a road book. The display is also Bluetooth connected to your phone, more specifically to Yamaha's My Ride app, which will show your phone's notifications, including incoming calls on the display of the bike. But the more interesting functionality is that the app will now also show all your ride details, including elevation, top speed, acceleration, and lean angle, so you can check out your stats at the end of the ride. Now, the interesting thing is, as far as I know, acceleration and lean angle are usually only recorded from a bike by using an IMU, an inertial management unit. A lot of bikes have these, and they paved the way for a slew of new upgrades like lean sensitive ABS or cornering ABS, cornering traction control, etc. Since the bike now knows what it's doing in 3D space, converting standard ABS to cornering ABS doesn't really cost the manufacturer anything since it's just software. There are no parts that need to be added on the bike, it's basically just code. But there is absolutely no mention of traction control on the new World Raid, and the ABS is definitely not lean sensitive. It's a little mystery we have here. Where's the traction control? More updates, including a steering dampener, which is positioned high up next to fuel tanks to make adjusting it easier. This should make the bike more composed and easier to control at higher speeds, especially off-road. Larger foot pegs, a 15mm taller windshield, and better wind protection since the panels now have also been reworked because of the different fuel tanks. Colors, there will only be 2 available for this year, a blue and a black one. Pricing in Europe, it will go on sale for 11,600 euros, which is 1,600 more than the standard version. Not really that bad considering you get quite a bit of value for money. Should be the same in the US as well, since there the standard T7 sold for 10,000 US dollars. So anything from 11.5 to 12,000 should be the sweet spot. Yamaha really has concentrated on making a more long-distance version of their beloved T7. They also made it a lot more capable off-road, and this is where I think they missed the mark. Maybe concentrating on making it more comfortable for long-distance on-road would have been a better choice. I think the standard model was more than capable off-road for 95% of riders out there, myself included, but I would have liked to see more on-road comfort like less brake dive, an easily adjustable windshield, etc. Well, that's my 2 cents on it. I'm gonna go back to editing the next episode of the South Africa trip. Make sure you start watching that if you haven't yet. It was a lot of fun.
Look, monkeys! Hello, monkey! Hello! What is your name? No, don't be scared. It's just a GS, man. It's not a KTM. Don't be scared.
I'll put a link to that playlist down below. But in the meantime, why don't you tell us all what you think of the new Tenere? Good direction, bad direction? Were you expecting to see something different? Comment section below is the right place for this. Well, that's the show for today, everyone. If you've enjoyed it, give it a big thumbs up. And if you think you've learned something new, consider subscribing or becoming one of our patrons to help us make more of these shows. Cheers, and I'll see you on the next one.